is Leanne, and I am the Director of Human Resources for the Central Texas Food Bank. If you don't know what that name is, we just changed our name 3 months ago. So we used to be called the Capital Area Food Bank. And we used to be a big cheese, apple, fish, and bread, and now we are a carrot, which, did you know we have a lot of carrots in Texas, funny enough. Daniel Kotz-Maliska is not able to join us today. He had an emergency last minute, so I'm really sad about that because he's the funny guy and I'm the boring one, so you guys get me. So what are we going to talk about today? So we are going to talk about the characteristics of a professional resume, understand the purposes of a resume, and talk about a successful interview. But the way that this presentation is structured is why I won't hire you. So all of your other presentations are about, this is how you do a resume, this is how you do this is how you do that. Well, you've been to a million of those, right? Well, I'm going to tell you the things that I see when people come and work for apply for a job with me as a nonprofit versus maybe you going to a for-profit entity to apply for a job. So a lot of the times, the nonprofit world attracts recent college graduates. So we get lots of college graduates. They're usually a couple months out from graduating, okay? So what I like to tell people is the real world awaits for you. Not all of you are created equal, and when you're coming in applying for a job, you need to remember that you have qualities and characteristics, thank you for coming back, characteristics and things like that that are going to make you stand out, and you need to demonstrate that information, demonstrate that to us when you come in. Well, how do you do that? The first way that you do that is by your resume. I'm going to tell you guys that nonprofits, we don't have those little fancy scanning machines that pick out keywords and decide whether you are worthy or you are not worthy, okay? That machine with nonprofits are our eyeballs, and we look through a lot of those resumes. So please do not submit a resume that we see thousands and thousands of them that look exactly the same, okay? So make it stand out. I'm sure another presenter's talking about how you create a resume. We have college kids that come in there, and I swear you guys, why do you have a 10-page resume? Okay, unless you're 70 years old and you're coming back into the workforce and you've worked since you were 12, your resume shouldn't be that long. Typically go back maybe 5-7 years, but with an applicable experience. So if you're coming to work at the food bank and you want to be our CEO, and 3 months ago you worked at McDonald's as the French fry preparer, which I only say that because I did that in college a long time ago, and it's fun. But that's not applicable to the job that you're applying for, so probably leave that off. So I appreciate the information that you're giving to me from, and I don't see a lot of college kids in here, so we might just jump over a lot of the slides that talk about college, unless you really want to know. I want to see clarity and definition on the resume or the application that you're bringing in, because like I said a few minutes ago, we do look at your resume. We physically read your resume, and we go through that information. Make sure everything on your resume is relevant, concise, and very focused. You are investing in yourself. You should not have one resume that you're sending out to 50 different entities. It's one resume for every job that you're applying for. And I'm going to tell you guys something. The nonprofit world in Austin is very small, and all of us HR people talk about you, your candidates, amongst us. And that works well, because if we don't have a position for you at our organization, I'm going to reach out to another nonprofit and say, hey, Daniel from Safe Alliance, I have Terry that applied, but she's not a good fit for anything that we have here, but I'm going to give you her resume and give her a call. And we do that a lot here in the city. So make sure your resumes are relevant, concise, and you focus them. A long resume is not going to impress me. I'm going to tell you, because we look at those resumes, I'm not probably going to go past the first page, and if you have multiple pages, we'll probably just put you in the nice little pile that says maybe we'll look at you when we have more time outside of our mission to focus on what you've written in your resume. So I received a resume 2 days ago, and it's so funny I had to print it out, and it's taped to my corkboard in my office. So if you come and visit me, you will see it there, I promise you, okay? And the resume says, I don't have a resume, I'm still in college. And that's what they submitted as their resume as an interest to a job that we had posted. Okay? So that's ridiculously short. You have experiences and background in volunteerism and things that you've done that you can craft into a nice document that shows who you are. One thing that really bothers us are the different fancy fonts that you use. You may have InDesign on your home computer that has amazing fonts on there that look really good. I work for a nonprofit. We still have a mouse that's in my chassis that's powering my computer, okay? We don't have all those fancy fonts and different things on there. And half the time, most of our computers don't have PDF, so please send it in a Word document. You know, those are all things that you need to be aware of, that not all organizations are very well padded with PDF and Microsoft. What's the new version of Microsoft Office that everybody's using? Microsoft Suite. Okay, so I don't know, because we're still working in 2007. So we don't have that. So a lot of those new functions don't transfer over. So when we open up your resume and it's all scrambled and all over the place, and we think, well, what did they do to this resume? It's not our fault, right? Because we have an older version. So just be careful with stuff like that. A few things: don't send me a photograph of yourself. Okay? We don't want to see what you look like. We don't care what you look like as long as you're qualified and you can do the job. Don't put your home address on your nonprofit application, because we discriminate. If you live in Pflugerville and my office is way down on Burleson and Metropolis, chances are, man, you may not want to drive that far. The toll, we're only paying you this amount of money. You're going to have to take the toll road to get here. So those are things that we look at. You don't need your home address on there. You don't need to tell us where you live, as long as you live somewhere. Doesn't matter. How many of you have a really weird email address? You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay. So we do have ones that come in that are not appropriate for the workplace. Okay, so what you choose to do in your spare time, that's your business, but create an email address that you only get job postings for. Like, do that. Open that extra mail and do that. Although they are very creative sometimes. No, because nobody's from Austin. Nobody's really from 512. So that doesn't matter. Have an objective statement. That means don't have an objective statement. That's antiquated. We don't look at that. That's more for me to read. I know what job you're applying for on our resume, on the resumes. So now here's a big thing. I get a lot of creative resumes that come in. Hey, if it's in the shape of a pizza box, I'm going to be very disappointed when I open it up and there's no pizza. Okay? So at least put a pizza in there with me. But we get, because we're a food industry, a food bank, I get resumes that come in the shape of a milk carton. Cool. We'll hire you, because that's amazing. Or you just have a lot of time on your hand. I'm not sure. But we do get a lot of people that put them in plastic folders, and I know a lot of job folks tell you that, to put your resume in those plastic little covery folders so that when it sits on the person's desk and you have a whole pile of resumes, all of those are going to slide off of your little plastic cover and you'll be on the top. Well, guess what we do with those ones when they keep messing up my desk and they keep falling off? Yeah, goes in what, with that 7-year retention pile, that little thing underneath the desk. All right, so just be aware of that. Okay. What do we want you to do? List your skills. List the job title that you had, the employer that you work for, city, state, dates of employment. Because we have to look up that information anyway, okay, or pay a company to do it. So just put it on your resume. It takes 2 seconds. Highlight your education. And again, this is more geared towards college kids. So if you're just coming out of college, put your education first, because you don't have a lot of maybe work experience. Do you speak another language? How many of you speak another language in here? Yeah. 99% of the time, nobody puts that on there unless the job description said bilingual required. Okay? So that's an important skill. So sign language, Spanish, German, Portuguese, whatever. Put it on your resume. Biggest thing for me, and I will stare at your resume forever, not because you're an amazing candidate, but it's like, how did you spell your name wrong? How did you get your street address wrong? How do you not know how to spell there, T-H-E-R versus T-H-E-I-R? So grammatical, spelling. And you know, your computers have like a little red line that comes up underneath words. Does everybody know what that means? Okay, and little green lines that come up, squiggly lines. So usually it's right, so go ahead and fix it. Have some other people look at your resume first before you start sending out. So somebody tell me, what's the purpose of your resume? Come on, you guys. Get the interview. What else? Well, where are you applying? Did you say sell yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, so to tell your story?
Yeah, tell your story.
Okay, so it's like an elevator speech? Yeah, that sort of thing, okay. So your resume is your marketing brochure, okay? Because we don't know you, because remember I said don't put a picture on the resume, I don't want to know what you look like. But your resume tells me what do you have to offer to our organization, what contributions are you going to make. And like I said, each one of your resumes should be tailored for the job that you're applying for, not send one resume out to 10 different jobs that you've applied for, okay? Especially because in the nonprofit world, we do talk to each other about the candidates that come through our doors. We can give your resume to references, or you can give your resume to references. That's the biggest mistake people make, is you list somebody as a reference on your resume, and you may call them or have beer and say, hey, I used you as a reference on my resume. You know, you've known me for 20 years. Well, knowing somebody 20 years and really knowing what skills they have in the workforce is a little bit different. So give them a copy of your resume so that they know when I call, because I'm going to interrogate the person, right, that they know exactly what's on the resume for you. And then, of course, I'm going to use it as an interview guide when you come in to interview with me. And it's really interesting when I sit there and I'll be talking to candidates and ask them questions, and they'll look at me like I'm crazy. And you know that crazy look. And I'll look at them and go, well, I'm actually just reading directly off of your resume. Would you like a few minutes to look at it first? So you may have had somebody else help you with the resume, or somebody else did the resume for you, or they fixed it up for you and maybe you didn't look at it. So just be aware of things like that. So the main purpose of your resume is to get you an interview. That's why you have a resume. Were you waiting for me to say that?
I was gratified.
All right, okay. So it's to, don't you like his teeth? I like his teeth, that's why I put him up there. All right, so the main purpose is to get you an interview. Okay, so geek is the new sexy. What do I mean by that? Well, what that means is your resume needs to have certain information on it. Do not cut and paste from your job descriptions and put it in there, because we're very smart people and we know that you've taken it from your job description and put it on there. So you're just a robotic, this is all I do all day, and that's not what you do. Okay? So you need to make your resume situation, action, and result oriented. If you don't know what that means, Google it. There's tons of templates. You can put your information on your job and it'll spit something out for you. But make it worth your while. I love the Big Bang Theory. All right, so let's talk about the interview. All right, so we get a lot of people that make it past the interview make it to the interview because their resumes are perfect and amazing and they've listened to everything that we told them to do. But you didn't prepare for the interview. I've actually had people come into the interview and have to get past our carrot logo all over the building, in the parking lot, past everybody that's wearing the branded clothes. And they'll sit there and they'll say something ridiculous like, well, I really want to work with AIDS patients, and I know that your organization is the #1 nonprofit in the city for that. And you just sit there and go, well, we don't actually have any programs that does that. And I start questioning myself going, did we start a new program that I'm not aware of? What's going on? So I stopped listening to you anyway, because in my mind I'm thinking, what the heck are they talking about? Well, they've come to the wrong. They've applied for every nonprofit. They've got the interview. They come in, probably scheduled 4 interviews in the same day, and you're getting kind of mixed up on where you're at. Okay? Look at our website. Information's there. Most nonprofits I know are going to ask you, well, what's the mission of such and such? It's plastered over every one of our websites. Look at it, learn it, love it. And if you don't love it, then you don't need to go there and work there. Okay? So you need to understand that. I am a very Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything possible that you could possibly think of. So look at the information out there. Try and find a connection, because relationships, enhancing relationships when you're interviewing is about that connection, okay? So if I don't have a connection with you, you're not going to stand out for me, and that may even bias my opinion about you, okay? So for those of you that don't know me, and I know one person in here, for those of you that do not know me, go to my email, my LinkedIn page, whatever, and you will find out that I row competitively for the state of Texas. That's a big deal for me. If you come in for an interview and say, so how did you do at that regatta? I will be like, we are done with the interview, you were hired. How much do you want to make? Okay? A little bit different than the for-profit sector, right? Because they have to balance, distribute the grades, when they're giving you a score of 1 through 4 and things like that. And, nonprofits are a little bit more of, are they going to fit in with the culture of everybody here? Do they like wearing Crocs or flip-flops? Or, as you'll see, all your other presenters are nicely dressed up, and I have crop pants on and a t-shirt. So my hair's not even brushed. Wanted to let you know that. All right. So you don't have to be a subject matter expert about what we do at the food bank, but at least have a general idea by a high-level view of our website. Okay, so you don't need to know all the different programs that we have, but don't pretend like you do either, because we are subject matter experts and we do know the information. So if you don't know something, say you don't know it. There's nothing wrong with that. Prepare questions. It's simple. Go to Google. Questions I can ask for hunger and security organizations, whatever you need to do. Okay, you need to show me that you can gather some information. You have to show us that, because nonprofits, it's not about that bottom line. It's not about how much money you're not spending, right? There's a whole lot of other factors that we look at to gauge your performance. So at an interview, we are looking at, are you going to be a leader, or are we going to have to lead you so that you follow? Does that make sense? A little bit? I'm running out of time and I'm getting nervous. Okay, I'm trying to get through all of this. All right. Keep your talking points to the job. Don't go off and talk about something that happened 8 years ago, because honestly, you have an hour with me and I don't really care. That's horrible to say, but it's true. Okay? I'm not looking for a jack of all trades. That's not what we're looking for, because if we were, we could pay you a lot more, and we can't pay you a lot in nonprofit. Okay? Interestingly enough, I know this is Austin and jeans and flip-flops are okay, and I'm talking about it dressed like the way I am today, but when you come in for an interview, just remember that Austin is a very cash kind of, cowboy boots, blue jeans, hats, that sort of deal. However, when you come for an interview, you need to dress for success. And whatever that looks like to you, and it's going to be different for everybody, but I will tell you it doesn't include chinos, a sundress, sandals, even if they are bedazzled. I don't care. They're still sandals. Don't wear bedazzled sandals. Okay? Write a thank you note. I know a lot of people want to do the old-fashioned or the new, let's just send you a quick email and say thank you for your time. Guess what? You're not going to stand out, and I'm not reading it. I get a nice 25-cent card that you went and picked up and just wrote something in there. Something such as adding value to why you came to the interview and what you learned from our interview, and why you're going to love working for my organization. And don't be disingenuous about it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But if something really grabs your attention, then write about it. Okay? Reflect upon about what you learned in the interview. Why are you the candidate of my choice? That's what we want to know. And honestly, you guys, you can spit that out in 2 sentences in a nice little thank you card and drop it in the mail. Can you invest? What's the postage rate right now for a stamp? 42 cents. Okay, so 42 cents. Invest 42 cents in yourself to send that letter that stays in your file that we put aside, that'll make you stand out from everybody else. And the millennials in the room are going, hell no, I'm going to hit send on my email. Don't do it. Send a letter. Nice little note. Okay? I love Walt Disney, and if that's my dream job, I would work at Disney World, not as a costume character. I mean, like in the HR department, because they have the most amazing department there ever. So Walt Disney said, if you can dream it, you can do it. And that's what you need to remember about your dream job.